W1VLF. Hey everybody, my name is Paul, W1VLF, and welcome back to the lab. Last video I did about electronics was about loops, and this one's going to be about loops. Move this guy over. Whoop, not that guy. Move this guy over. And the next one's going to be about loops as well. But so let me just give you like a preview of the next video. It's like a teaser, right? It's going to be a PVC. It's going to be a PVC loop, and the reason I'm going to make one of these style loops is the common question is that I get on all these videos is how many turns and how far is the spacing and you know how big in diameter and what can I use and lots of questions like that. All the very same questions that I had when I was first starting off with this a long time ago. And there really weren't any calculators online, and I looked. I don't really see any loop calculators online. I did find one or two, but those weren't available. So assuming that you can't find one of those online, this is what I did. I took PVC pipe and I just experimented, and I found out I'm going to put way more turns, and my gut says, my gut is very seldom wrong. But I'm going to put way more turns on than I need, and I'm going to space them relatively far apart because I know if they're bunched together that the Q of the loop drops. So with just some fundamental things, I decided I'm going to take a couple dowels, right? This is just your standard, I think it's 5/8 dowel or 1/2 inch, I can't remember. Doesn't matter. But what I did was I cut slots. Each one of these slots is 1/4 inch apart. And then you drill a hole through the end of a piece of PVC pipe, okay, just a standard 2-foot piece of PVC pipe. Shove this through, it's a pretty tight fit, and then hot glue it inside so that you have all these, the slots, 1/4 inch slots. And let's see, there's probably 12 or 15 over here, 12 or 15, there's roughly 30 turns that you can put on here, which is going to be way too much for the broadcast band. But the whole idea of this loop project, this is coming up next, not really what I wanted to talk about today. But the whole idea here is that you can take and wind this loop, of course try to wind it symmetrically, you know, maybe 5 turns out this way, 5 turns out this way, and then use what's in one of my other videos to figure out where it resonates. Oh, okay, it resonates at 2,000, well I need a few more turns. And this way here you can empirically arrive at what works best for you. So I'll show you all these parts up close. And the other thing is, of course, they make these X's. And if you look at this, and you think about this X, this is the wrong size, this is for a bigger pipe. And you put this in, right, you put the what do you call it, the PVC cement on here, you got about 2 seconds to make a decision which direction this thing is pointed. And that could be a real problem. Or you could drill it after. You could put all the 4 pieces in and drill it after, and that can be a real challenge. But I've chosen to drill all 4 pieces first, put all 4 of these in to make this easier, so just about anybody can build it. And then you can make a simple X out of aluminum. This is aluminum angle iron. It looks like it's 1 by 1. I'll show you how to make this, but you can see it's pretty rugged, okay? 1 screw is holding this together with a couple of slots. So what happens then is you connect and you can use tie wraps or you can use hose clamps, and that allows you to line these up. Let's see, I can't see if this is in the picture or not, but line this up perfectly so that you're not stuck with a T over here, and you know you got one that, oh Jesus, it froze up before I got it aligned properly. So I'll go into all that, but the basic idea and what I wanted to say before this video, for the next video, but in this one is that I didn't do it by formula. I'm more of an empirical guy. So I wound 10 or 15 turns on each side, and I found out, wow, that resonates way too low. So I pulled off 1 turn at a time, right? The copper wire is relatively inexpensive. So you pull off 2 turns, you check it with your capacitor, and you find out where it resonates. So that's that's really, it's really easy to do. The common capacitor is that 0 to 365 PF tuning capacitor that everybody seems to have in their junk box. The hardest part of all is cutting these slots with a hacksaw. I did it on a radial arm saw, and because I used to sell these loops, I would set up about 10 of these in a row and cut them all at the same time because it was just way more cost effective. But it can easily be done with a hacksaw. So anyway, that's enough of that. That'll be the next video, and we'll go into how to build that. Today's video is a little bit different. In the last one we did, we talked about, you know, this loop here and how, you know, how it looks kind of nice and everything, and how proximity to the radio takes the field that's generated by this loop and puts it into that radio. But there's a kind of a big problem with that, and so I'm gonna clean off the Group W bench here and then come back and I'll show you what my fix for it. All right, and I'll be right back. Don't go away. Actually, I'm going to try something in the video. I'm going to leave the camera running and then I'm just going to clean the bench off and speed it up so you won't have to watch it. So I'll still be doing that. Okay. Okay, back. At least my front view is. So, the last time we were talking about these loops, I didn't show this one last time. This is the Grundig AN200. And we're going to use this one specifically today. I'm going to do this real quick here, and then I'm going to run outside, freeze my ass off, and do this in front of the W1 VLF firing range and designated quiet spot out there. There's just too much noise in this general vicinity to make this a really effective test. But what is this test going to be? Well, here's the problem. You have your radio, and maybe you have it on a bookshelf or something, and Jesus, there's just nowhere to put this loop, right? It's just not convenient. So you say, well, look how nice this is. The AN200 has an output that goes right directly into the radio, but a lot of nice older AM radios don't have an outlet for that. So you're either trying to squeeze this thing in there in some convenient way and it's not pointed at the proper station and all that crap. So here's something I used to do a long time ago, and it still works out quite well. And that is, you take a small coil. I'll take some close-up pictures of this, I guess, and show you what this is. But I think it's about 20 turns of Litz wire on a 1/2-inch piece of PVC. And then you stick a ferrite rod through the middle. Inside here, somewhere, probably hear that. Okay, it's kind of noisy, is the loop stick antenna. There's normally a loop stick right on top. So if I put this piece of ferrite on there, nothing happens. Okay, but if I put this on with the coil attached, and then come over here, and resonate this one. Not existing on your own way. Now this becomes the antenna back here. Whoop. Yeah, you would probably want to build this so that it was, you know, wouldn't fall off when you're trying to do an experiment. Why do we do this? Because the Lord, but you could, now this antenna through a piece of wire becomes, couples in, makes a field on this antenna, this coil over here, and couples in, and now you can place this antenna almost anywhere where you want and still tune it. Okay, there it is. I'm going to tune it, and now I'm going to point away. Content what you have, for he has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So I can confidently say, the Lord is my helper. I will not. Here, let me grab my favorite one there. That is down the one in Boston. So Boston's that way. You can't see my hands. Boston's that way. South is that way. So there it is. It's nulled.
Well, it doesn't have
Anyway,
to
I'm going to
be
take all this crap
about me.
outside. So, and show you out there. But here's a loop stick.
Some of us, we struggle with
Came off like an old stereo of some sort.
Doesn't have to be that way.
Caution, don't hold this like this bar to lift the amplifier. So
I can yield my rights, my
I'm going to
will,
take this off.
my way.
Watch, I'll tune it up.
It doesn't have to be all about me.
And I'll just move this. So I don't have to have the loop close. Here, now this loop is bigger, right? This one's much smaller, so this one's going to have a big effect.
So I can live reasonably. I can live harmoniously. Planning. I can live. We're at the day, Perkins. Any questions you have? What's the next one?
It's a little tough, a little rough tuning, but again, here's another loop, a loop stick that I got, you know, in my scrap box. So I'll pull this out, plug in this other one.
We live in a world that is on the edge of freaking out.
So if you had a loop of this size,
we live in a society.
Jesus,
if you had
a loop, oh man, you can't really see that, huh? No, sorry, but if you had a loop of this size, you could put it wherever you wanted. Null the station, peak the station. All right, enough of that. I'm gonna go outside. It's 30 degrees outside, freezing my butt off, and do this in a quiet area where the results are even more impressive. Okay, here we go. Heading out towards the we want to get a firing range. Hold this camera, about 4 radios. No, 2 loops and 4 radios. And I set up a table out here. I see 2010. Alright, we set up, and I'll be out. Okay, so we're out here in the relatively quiet woods, radio frequency wise. I don't know, some birds around and stuff like that. So this is the last you're going to see of my face in this segment of the video. I'm going to zoom in on the radios and the loops and show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so let me do that and I'll be back. Alright, so you see the top of that loop? I guess so. Let me move it back just a little bit. Yeah. Alright, so we have 3 radios out here. Tiny little Channel Master something or other. Really small antenna. Horrible receiver. The one of the old Radio Shack kind of general purpose radios. And the 2010. Let's start off with the 2010. The first test we're going to... Now imagine for a minute you have a place where you want this radio to be. It's on a shelf. You can't turn it to orientate the signal the best. You can't really put a loop right up against it. That's not practical. You can't really put it in front of it because, you know, then you can't really see the radio. So here's the fix for that. And the fix for that is just a common loop stick. An everyday loop stick antenna that you'd pull off. Whoops. That you would pull off of your of a junk radio before you'd get rid of it. I'm a big believer in parts, saving stuff. As you can probably see on my bench there, there's all sorts of crap there. Okay, so the white and the black are typically the wires that are connected to the 200 or 250 millihenry side of the loop here, and the red and green are typically the ones that go off. That's the coupling loop. So I'll just set that right there. I'm going to move this guy out of the way for the moment. So let's turn this baby on. There's 510 kilohertz. I hate it. This jack here is. The Sony failed me, so I'm going to put that off to the side. I'm going to start off with the Radio Shack. All right, we're tuned to 560 kilohertz. It's down in, it's actually in Springfield. So we'll put the loop on top, no difference. Of course, it's not plugged in either. Put the loop on top. Now we'll go over here.
Living in and the strength to live productively, I can have a healthy inward life that leads to a productive outward life.
Whatever place looks good. Bring a wire up.
Hey,
and
there's our trolley again.
Put this right on top. Okay, and now this loop takes over.
So look at the person next to you again. What were you going to call him?
Hey, trolley. I can effectively null that station right out.
Zenobia, you asked a great question.
What is important is that this is coupled properly long ways.
How does it go up the hill?
So I'm moving away.
Another name for a trolley is a cable car.
Okay. And now I'm going to miss
San Francisco and cities that have.
There it is. Now, of course, you have this other wooden loop that we were playing with. So I'll remove this out of the way. And I'll put this up against the radio.
Behind the scenes is an amazing
You'll notice it's much louder
that pulls.
But that's one of the reasons for that is the big circumference.
That's what pulls the cable car.
This one's about 13 inches and a little over, and this one here is only about 8 inches.
If you are a trolley.
So let me get that out of here. Let's take our old surplus loop stick, put it on.
Hear me. Hear me. As the cable car has no power unless it grips the cable, the Christian has no power unless they're holding on.
Then I can detune this loop, or I can take this away. And this is what you're left with. This is the actual volume of the station coming in.
You've got no engine. You've got no independent means for power.
The ability of running an external loop.
Where do you get your power?
And the advantage of it.
Holding on.
By nulling.
I can't tell you how it works.
All right.
I don't know how it's going to work for you exactly.
I'm going to pull this away. As soon as you put this loop over on top of that antenna, signal comes. This takes over, coupled so tightly. And this is now your receiving antenna.
Back to the fact, I'm a trolley. This is not surprising that
So let's try something else. Let's take, if you don't, let's say you don't have a loop stick in your array of in your junk box. Let's say. So I took this piece of CPVC pipe. I think there's probably like 25 turns in here. I don't think it's that critical. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook it back up here. We're going to hook it up to the AN200 loop. And we're going to put it on top. It's really light. I mean, everything's getting really brittle out here and stiff. Not everything. Okay, let me try and tune it without the core. Not enough coupling. So let's put the core in and lay it right there.
I can't even afford to lose that. So help me at this moment to get strength for you.
There's a place in here.
Or Lord, help me to have the right attitude about this temptation. Help me have
it's only a short loop stick like this. So you're going to want to try to figure out how to center this loop on top of your radio.
I am a trolley, I understand that, but I'm holding on to.
Yeah, I got a bad connection there.
So if you leave with nothing else today,
Okay. Very little effect over there.
there's one more, by the way. Look with me at verse 11 and 12.
That works really well.
Or 10, 11, and 12. And we'll look closely at these next week.
The antenna.
What does Paul say?
I know the station.
I know how to abase. I know how to abound. He says, I've learned to be content no matter what.
So 2 ways to go about that. Wind your own loop, 20 turns of regular wire, stick an old number 61 shaft, stick an old number 61 ferrite rod in there, and yeah, I should have soldered.
Now, the thing I want you to focus on
I wanted to be able to
is that the most important point of what we're sharing today is you're a trolley.
Let's move up to, I mean, this radio has got a pretty good antenna on it to start off with, but nothing like that. So there's lots of stations here.
His hand, the ring of authority, the ring that
Okay,
the
there's
Father
one
gave
that's
to those who were the most
kind
trusted
of noisy.
in his house.
Put our loop on there.
He would have been so shocked. Not only did the ring have power, it had the power of the Father's seal. In other words, whatever you loose on earth is bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth is loosed in heaven. He put the ring of authority on. So when that son put the seal of that ring on anything, it had the weight and power of the Father and his whole house behind it.
And there isn't a dramatic difference. I know
Incredible that the Father would give this boy this ring, because it was only given to those that were trusted. Remember, he thought, my Father will forever be looking at me with a sideways glance, never trusting me again.
Right.
And suddenly, before his
tune
chance to even prove his worth, he's now covered and trusted in the sight of his Father.
So
I'm talking to you about this incredible kindness.
the whole idea of this video is just to give people a way to use an external loop like this without having to be subject to having it really close or in front. If this was on a bookshelf, I don't know, let's see, what Grundig made some really nice radios, and they don't all have antenna inputs, either does this one. But now you can take advantage of the extra signal that you can gain from a loop like this, okay, and still be able to leave the radio in one position. Now the difference between this loop and this one is that this is just a resonant circuit, high Q resonant circuit, okay, Litz wire, capacitor, so it doesn't have a coupling loop. This one does, the AN200. This one could easily have a coupling loop if you wanted to. It would just simply be 2 more turns wrapped around, and those would come out the back and go over to this coil right here. So, man, I think I rambled on long enough, but just wanted to kind of get this point across. So, keep an eye out for the other video, the one on how to build a loop, and that'll answer a lot of questions on, well, how big do I make it, how many turns, and it's going to be a way to do that empirically, by testing, by experimenting. And I don't profess to have any unique designs or build it exactly like this. What I'm trying to do is inspire people to build something on their own, experiment, and maybe give you the route or the avenue to get there. So with that, I'm out of here. 73 W1. Oh, always forget this. Let's see, what is it now? It's up to 838, I think, subscribers, and I need to get to that 1,000. So if you could please subscribe, there'll be a little message in the video
generally
somewhere,
speaking,
right?
that's why new believers have a tendency to win more people to Christ.
Whoop, went off resonance.
Because the new believer knows it's all mercy. The older believer starts to feel they've had
This is
a
my
little
first
bit to do
outdoor
with their
video.
redemption, and they lose the
So
message in the long
I'll
run.
sign off with you guys
But,
and maybe just
I can
shoot a
see
few
it in my
pictures of the
spirit.
tower here.
I can see people just getting up.
73 from
I
W1
see you
VLF.
half drunk in your living room. I can see you actually you're in a kitchen.
All right, we're going to take a walk over to the tower. It's a bunch of old masts, and that's the old C-band dish mast. Oh, look at this. The targets are still up there. Better reset them. Anyway, we're going over to the tower. Quick basic tour here. This is the roll of rope that allows me to lower the 300-foot dipole that's at the top. See, if I can hold this still, I'm going to zoom in on the antennas. Hard to tell if that's focused or not. Let me move over to one of the anchors because I want to show you another video that I'm going to make coming up. And that video is on how to pull a dipole up to the top of that tower or close to it, depending on the size of the dipole, without ever climbing that tower. And here's part of that right now. It's very simple. I'm going to try to do a video on it before it gets too cold. 2 pulleys. Okay, one rides up and down the wire, goes right up the guy wires. The other one you put a rope through and you pull towards this way, and these 2 pulleys, one on this anchor, where's the other anchor? I don't know, it's 150 feet away somewhere. I can't see it in this little viewfinder, but you do the same thing on the other anchor, and you can pull a dipole up, all depending on how far apart your guys are spaced. All right, speaking of spaced, I think I'm done here. 73, thanks for watching. This is W1VLF, signing out at Guy Anchor 1.